My name is Sean Stats. I'm from Bristol, Virginia, born and raised. I came from, a really decent family. I had a mother and father that were involved in my life and cared about me and did their best to, lead me the right way and keep me out of trouble. So as I grew a little older, I started getting into the drug game, started selling weed for a while, and then some circumstances happened as I got a little older where I stepped into the cocaine game and dived in head first. Not more than a little over a year after that, I was sitting in Sullivan County Jail, and I wouldn't walk back out of those gates for 9 years, 3 months, and 7 days. Not only that, but the mother of my daughter was sitting in there with me, pregnant with our daughter. My daughter was born 3 months after I went in. Her mother went into labor in Sullivan County Jail, and it took so long to actually get her out of the jail to the hospital that she had the baby in triage before they could even get her to a room. The next day, her mother's sitting right back in the cell block. I'll never forget that morning. It was June 17, 2007. It was Father's Day. And I was sitting in the cell block. So as I laid down and just as I dozed off, I heard a female officer at the front bars say my name. So as I got up and walked to the front bars, all she said to me was, "Happy Father's Day. It's a girl." I thought my life was over with. And for the next 9 months sitting in that jail, man, I would stare at the ceiling every night, literally thinking like, I'm never gonna get to be with my daughter. I'm never gonna get to experience life, man. I was still really a kid when I got incarcerated in the first place. And it was at that time when it was just like something broke in me. And it wasn't, God, if you'll get me out of this situation, I'll serve you. Nah, it was nothing like that. It was this realization in me that I was self-destructive by nature and there's nothing I could do to change myself. It was this realization that I knew that if some miracle happened and the gates flew open right then and all my charges disappeared and I walked out a free man and could just move on with my life, I knew if I didn't have God in my life, then I was just gonna do something else to screw everything up. It was, God, I need you whether I stay in here the rest of my life or whether I get out tomorrow. And from that moment on, things began to really change in my life. It was a slow process. There's a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of habits, a whole lot of experiences I had been through that were deeply rooted in my heart that had to begin to be ripped out, and it was painful and it was slow, and it's still happening today. I think sometimes you might hear a story like mine, and because you can't relate to it, maybe you work a good job, you got a decent family, you pay your taxes, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You might not feel the same kind of need like something greater, like, well, I'm doing good with my life. And it's easy to think, because this mentality runs rampant even through the church today, that, if I live a good life and my good outweighs my bad, and, God sees that. And I just pray that whatever it takes, and I hope it doesn't take what it took in my life, that God would do whatever it takes in your life for you to realize the weight of your sin, for you to realize that you were in the same position that I was in, whether or not you were sitting in prison, whether or not you've ever been addicted, or whether or not you've done terrible things, that you were in the same position that I was in. But that's the reason that God sent His Son here. That's the reason that we celebrate this day, that He rose from the grave. See, He conquered death for us. We forget about that. To us, it's all about Him dying on the cross. And that's not to be spoken lightly of. But the fact that death couldn't hold Him, that He got up from the grave, and that my hope is that I'm gonna rise the same way that He did. The same power that rose Him is gonna cause me to rise too. You need Him just as much as I need Him.